Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Happy last Wednesday. Happy seventh Wednesday of World Renowned Wednesdays. I want to tell you all, I'll tell you individually, but I'll also tell you collectively that I'm proud of you all for hanging in here, for doing this thing, because this has been a journey and the timing is perfect, right? For most of us in the real estate industry, I've given you just a ton of stuff to look at over the past 7 weeks. And now we're coming up on August 17th, right? The dreaded, exciting, scary, all that stuff that's happening August 17th with the settlement changes, but we're going to be prepared simply because we have done the work up till now, even if we're not in real estate, if we are just entrepreneurs, small business owners who are focused on doing more, being better, and elevating our game. So tonight is going to be the recap. It's going to be our graduation ceremony from being world renowned on these Wednesdays. But then also, I'm going to pose some questions and give some homework for you all. And this is going to be the stuff that really puts the rubber to the road. So first, I want to commend each of you who are on here watching this live. I've had conversations with you individually, and all of you have put thoughts or have turned thoughts into actions, and you all know how big a deal that is for me. So the fact that you've actually done something with what we have been talking about for the past 7 weeks is a very big deal. So here's where we're going to begin. I'm going to recap. We're going to ask some questions so that as you take notes, it's going to lead into the second part of our night tonight. And tonight is not going to be as long as previously because I was having some conversations with Shanika, and Shanika was like, dude, bruh, my ears are burning. My brain is melting. You told us all about this and this and this. On top of, as Alicia just said, we've got these changes happening. I'm still having to be significant other. I'm still having to be mom and friend and daughter. And then Charles has to be an entrepreneur and a leader, employer, employee, leader, right? And so we're sitting here like, there's so much to do. I want to encourage you all with this. All of us, all of you specifically are capable of doing everything you want to do, and it's evidenced by everything that you've already done, right? Those who are mediocre, the mediocre many, they are not here with us right now. They are not watching this playback. The mediocre many have thrown their hands up, have gotten out of the industry. They have given up the fight. They said, you know what? It's easier for me to go do this. They don't have those dreams and aspirations of being more, doing more, and touching more lives. So here's where we're going to begin tonight, right at the very beginning. Who are you? Right? And I know that 7 weeks in, hopefully you've had some type of revelation. And so I was teaching doing a brokerage retreat yesterday over by Tampa. And, the broker asked me, he says, Neal, I really want you to encourage my agents. And I was like, I don't know for a fact that I can encourage your agents. What I can do is offer enlightenment, right? So they might not be encouraged, but they will be enlightened, meaning that they might not come out saying, yeah, I could do this. They might be enlightened enough to say, this is not for me, right? That I do not have what it takes to get this done. But the reason I mention this is we're going to go back, and hopefully in your 7 weeks, you have had some bit of enlightenment to answer this question. Who are you as a business owner? Who are you as an entrepreneur, service person, sales person? Who are you? And here's where we must start. Remember, we talked about that personal brand. Are you closer to figuring out what your personal brand is? What's that one word? What do people think about you? What do they say about you when you are not in the room? So I had a fantastic conversation today, and I believe that we started to figure out with the individual that I was speaking to, we started to figure out this piece right here, right? The beauty of the personal brand is that you don't always have to look for it. Sometimes it just finds you, right? And the way that we look for our personal brand, or we identify with our personal brand, is we start asking this question here. What are you world renowned at? What are you good at? What are you skilled at? What do others say comes easily to you? What is the greatest compliment that you're receiving where someone says, oh, I could never do that? Because we really want to ask and lead with the question, who are we? One of the mistakes that we make as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as real estate agents, we attempt to separate the personal from the professional. And I don't know if you've tried this or if you've had any success in 20 years. I have not had any luck separating Neal the man from Neal the service provider, the salesman, right? And so I find that when I am authentic and genuine, when I know who I am, when I operate out of that space, it makes everything else easier. Okay. So I want to ask you, have you done work to figure out what your personal brand is? Right? What is it about you, not your company, about you that makes people come back to you, that wants to be attached? I know Charles very well. Charles's personal brand is that he is just the life of the party. When Charles walks in the room, it's like mixing nitro and glycerin. You don't know how it's going to end, but you know it's going to be a bang, right? You be like, oh, we about to have some fun in here. Therefore, many of Charles's clients, they are a certain personality who like to have fun, but no, or let me say this, they want to get the job done, but they want to enjoy the process, right? Many of my clientele, they don't care about enjoying the process. They just want the job done. So that's why you all will see me button up and saying, hi, this is Neal Oates Jr. and all of the such, right? So this is where, what's your personal brand? Who are you? And what are you world renowned at? If you don't know this yet, I encourage you to have some more conversation with me. Let's start peeling back those layers of the onion, because more likely than not, it's much clearer to someone who is not inside of your skin, and we can help you get there. Now, after we know who we are, who are you talking to? Who is your ideal client, right? So a couple of things. When I say, who are you talking to? This is a reminder. You must choose a niche and only speak to your ideal client avatar. For me, when it comes to coaching and consulting, I speak to minority-owned service-based businesses 100% of the time. That is my niche. That's my specialty. When I'm in real estate, I am speaking to owners of single-family homes that are either waterfront or have at least an acre. That's my ideal client. So I only speak to them. If it's going to be sports and entertainment clientele, you only want to speak there. New home buyers for new construction, only there. Maybe it's going to be on the listing side of the business, or HR managers, or relocation. Wherever it is, we want to make sure that we are only speaking to our ideal client. But then the next question I ask when who are you talking to? The number of contacts. Let's not forget that lead generation is the lifeline of our business. So let me ask you, when I say who are you talking to, how many people are you talking to on a weekly basis? Do you know your numbers? Are you hitting your number of contacts? I know some of us are like, dang, I was hoping he forgot about that number of contacts and prospecting and conversion ratios. If you do not hit your numbers, your business is going to die. We have to have enough contacts, enough leads generated to feed this machine that's going to hopefully feed our futures to come. And before I go any further talking about who we're talking to, let's not forget about these 3 C's, because these 3 C's go straight into who we are, and that's going to be connection, character, and competence. So as we figure out who we are, we want to ask the question, are we leveraging our connections? Are we connecting with the right people? What is my character like? And then, am I competent enough? I know Alicia and I were just having a conversation talking about, we know this thing is coming. We, as consummate professionals, we want to make sure that our competence is high enough, that we are using the right forms, that we're saying the right things, that we're in compliance to make sure that the buyers are signing and that the co-op agents are signing the right thing to make sure that we're compensated, that we are not volunteers and working for free. So we don't want to forget those 3 C's of connection, character, and competence. And then, of course, we must know our numbers. And that's where I'm asking, who are you talking to? Are you speaking with enough people? Are you creating demand? Right? We talked about this whole idea of being oversubscribed. The only way that you're oversubscribed, the only way that you have massive profits and are that you're successful is that if you have massive demand. So I'm going to encourage you to start looking at your business. Say, what kind of lead generation am I doing? Am I in demand? And we're going to touch on that here in a moment. But even in the demand, your numbers, the 3 C's, this is the one that is most near and dear to my heart. And that's the T to A, the thoughts to action. Now, I want to give some kudos to one of our friends here. Shanika has turned thoughts into actions in an extraordinary way. Even not knowing what to do, she did something, right? And many times I believe that the universe, that God, that the ether rewards action, even if it is the wrong action. So I will tell you all that in Shanika's desire to do the right things, she says, hey, I don't know what to do, but someone suggested this. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to tell you all here. For us in this room, she landed a contact with a new home builder, a new home developer, and now she is working with the in-house sales team in addition to what else she is doing, right? That's the kind of stuff we as real estate agents, we like, girl, doggone, we've been doing this for years and we trying to get in. But here's the beauty. It's not because she knew everything. It's not because she was so confident. It's because she said, man, it's not even my thought. My broker suggested I do it. I did it, had great results, and we're going to build on that. So Shanika, congratulations on that, and continue to turn thoughts into actions. All right, let me go back here. When I say, who are you talking to? We talk about the number of contacts, vitally important. Know your numbers. How many contacts do you have to hit each day? Know that we're only going to speak to our ideal clients. But here's where the difference comes in with us and the mediocre many, us as the elite few, us as those who are world renowned. We're going to obsess over their high value problems, right? We're not going to obsess over the things that, like, yeah, it bothers me, but I don't really, it's not really a big deal. We're going to obsess over their high value problems. This does require you and I as business professionals to uncover what their high value problems are. So you must do your research. You've got to first identify who your ideal client is. Then we have to research what are their high value problems. What are the things that are causing them the most pain, keeping them up at night? What do they need solved? And we are going to obsess over that. And once we have an answer, we're going to realize that it's not the answer. So an answer would be, okay, here's how I can solve their problem. That's not good enough for you and I. As individuals who are going to deliver world-renowned service, here's how we're going to do that. We're going to solve their problem in an extraordinary way. So when we recognize what their high-value problem is, before you say, I'm going to implement the problem, I want you to think, how could I implement that solution times 10? How am I going to extraordinarily exceed their expectations? And the way we typically do that is by becoming a PPS, remember, professional problem solver. So if we, as professional problem solvers, think about obsessing over the high value problems that our ideal clients have, and if we make it our focus to solve those problems in an extraordinary way, we're always going to be in demand. So let me pause here for a moment. And I do want to go back to this part here, the map and strategy, right? When we talk about getting our personal exposure, building our personal brand, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that mapping out your life, what has brought you up to now, identify which pieces of your story are vital for your success. What pieces of your story are going to be an emotional boon to your potential clients, prospects, or customers? If we can say, I believe if I talk about A, B, or C, this would add leverage, that emotional tug to their heartstrings, not to manipulate, but to encourage, and yes, to persuade individuals to work with us, because we are aware that people want to work with people they know, like, and trust. And even if the skill and the competence is not there, we still have a preference of working with someone that is like us, just that similarity factor. So I'm going to encourage you to map out your life however you want, and then choose those highlights or lowlights, and then create stories around those so that you can use them in different conversations, in different selling pieces, or in your pitch. Now, this 4 R's, we have not talked about the 4 R's. The 4 R's, the reason I'm mentioning this now and who are you talking to, and after who are you, is because it's before we get into the E3. And this is important. So the 4 R's, we have not shared those here on World Renowned Wednesday, and tonight is a perfect night for that. But the 4 R's, the first R is be ready. Ready. No matter where you are, no matter what you are doing, no matter who's in the room, you must be ready for ... You must be ready for challenges. You must be ready for opportunities. We in the real estate industry right now, we're focusing a lot on that first R, right? We're trying to make sure we are ready with the processes and the contracts and the exclusive buyer brokerage agreements and the compensation agreements, or the showing agreement, or how we're going to have a consultation or conversation with the listing agent if we're representing the buyer. So you must always be ready. And here's the only way we are ready. The only way we are ready is if we practice. We must always and consistently practice. As boring as it is, as scary as it is, I'm going to encourage you to get a success partner, an accountability partner, a readiness partner, whatever you want to call it. Find someone that can bounce some ideas off of you and you off of them, to see if you truly are ready for the lights to be on and for the money to be on the line. So the first R is ready. The second R is going to be resilient. Resilient. This means that when the yogurt hits the fan, we cannot crumble. Our industry, if you're in real estate, you've had to be resilient over the past year, right? In 2020 and 2021, everything was awesome. And that was during a pandemic, right? I mean, we had deals rolling in, but now we're having to be resilient. And so after we're ready, we need to be resilient. So for you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, the first place that starts is right here. You all are going to have to make sure that you're putting the right thing in between your ears. Otherwise, IG, social media, the friends, the news, it's just going to beat us up. And we're going to start feeling like, why am I even trying? Can I win this thing? Maybe I should go back to doing what I was doing before. Your journey, your goal, and your purpose are too important, not only for yourself, but for those that you're going to impact, for you not to have resilience. So I would love to have conversations with you offline about some strategies or some techniques to build your resilience if you need. But most importantly, I'm going to encourage you all to get something good in your spirits, in your head, and in your hearts early in the morning, before you start working. I don't care if you read a little devotional, if you watch something funny and uplifting, maybe you have a podcast that you can just get 10, 12 minutes of. You have to get something that's going to boost your spirits, because here's what I would tell you all. the world does not love you. The world does not care about you. The world does not want you to smile and be happy. The world is going to do the world things. You know how they say that thinging? The world be worlding, right? If that's a word or phrase. So we have to make sure that we have resilience. The third R, ready, resilient. The third R is resourceful. We must be resourceful. That does not mean that you have to know everything. That would be foolish. What I do need you to do as you figure out who you are and who you're talking to, I need you to know where to get the right information. In real estate, it might be your local association, your broker. If you are the broker, it might be NAR. Right now, it might be Facts.Realtor, or it could be RPR. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be one of your colleagues or peers or a coach or mentor. If you are a business owner, it might be the Small Business Administration. It could be your Chamber of Commerce, but you must know what resources you have at your disposal, because when things start getting rocky, if you are ready, resilient, you're going to need resources, and that's going to add to that third C, that competence piece, and people are going to trust you. So here's the fourth R. After we are ready, resilient, and resourceful, the fourth R might be one of the most important, and that is remembered. You must be remembered. That means that people must remember you, and it can't be for a logo on your shirt or anything like that. They must remember you for an emotional reason. They must remember how you made them feel, what it was like when you helped them accomplish their goal. If you can be ready, resilient, resourceful, and remembered, the next piece that we're going to talk about is going to make your life and your business much easier. So when we are remembered, this means that someone thinks of you fondly. Now, I know myself, you all included, can probably remember someone for all the wrong reasons. That's not what we want, right? We want to remember someone. We want us to be remembered for the right reasons. And typically, that's because we solve their high value problems in an extraordinary way. All right. Is everyone okay so far? All right. Here's where we dive in, and we're going to move through this into some action pieces quickly. E3. Exposure, exposure, exposure. All of us. I've talked about who you are, your personal brand, who you're talking to, making sure you have your 3 C's, turning thoughts into actions, 4 R's, mapping our story, create demand, and knowing your numbers. Your job is to maximize exposure, exposure, exposure. You have to get on whatever it is. Live, IG, Facebook, TikTok, magazines. Leverage your affiliations and your partnerships. Everything, any way that you can. If you're in real estate, you don't have to ask your home inspector for referrals or your lender for referrals. What you do need to require of them is anytime you send them a lead or they're working with one of your clients or customers, you need to tell them, hey, when I send you someone, I need you to remind them of how awesome I am. And so when Charles has a buyer that calls his lender needs to say, you know what, you're lucky with Charles. You're so fortunate to work with him. He's the absolute best in the business. If we are not making that a requirement of those that we work for, of our affiliates, of our partners, first, the onus is on us. The mistake is on us. Second, find someone that would openly and willingly endorse you to your own clients. Okay. So exposure, exposure, exposure. I tagged you all, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I didn't tag you all, but my wife was just featured in another magazine article, right? What type of magazine was it from? Canvas Rebel. It's the same people, different magazine, different brand. If you all do not, have you all submitted your thing to canvasrebel.com? Everyone's gonna nod yes to me. Everyone's gonna nod. Ooh, I'm seeing no heads moving. Okay, we're gonna talk about action steps in a moment, right? Because my wife, she is a transaction coordinator. There's no reason why she should have multiple articles saying how professional and awesome she is more than us who are sales and service people. Exposure, 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 right? Magazines, social media, affiliations, and partnerships. Once you think that you have gone too far, once you think that you have said it too much, that people's ears are tired of listening to you, do it one more time. Right? When you say, hey, I'm easy to find if you're looking for the best. If you need someone if you know someone who needs professional real estate services, I'm your guy, I'm your gal. Do it again, right? Everyone does not hear our messaging. We, as human beings, us included, it takes us 11 or 12 times for things to sink in. The problem is we feel like we're being a nuisance after the third time, right? We feel like, ooh, I think they're tired of hearing me. They haven't even heard you yet, right? 8 times, ooh, I think they're tired of hearing me. They have not heard you yet. 11, 12, they'll finally say, oh, I saw your post. And you're like, man, which one? Oh, the one you just did. I didn't know you were doing this. You're like, dude, where have you been for the past 2 years? Right? And so this is where exposure, exposure, exposure is going to be vital for you and for your business and the success that you're looking for. So hopefully we are in an okay place so far. And this is where we are going to go to the hard work, the homework for tonight or for the rest of, I'm going to say, your time. This execution agenda, right? I know that I have given you all a lot of stuff. I know it has been overwhelming, and that is by design. But the reason is by design is because I never want to be the holdup. So here's the execution agenda for us. The first thing that I want you all to think is, what can I get done? What am I going to implement? From today, ladies and gentlemen, what am I going to implement in the next 24 hours? Okay. So some of you are doing okay, but you might need to just challenge yourself. What do I think I can accomplish? Not what do I think? What am I going to accomplish in the next 24 hours? Right? What am I going to accomplish in the next 24 hours? And so you all can see from the screen, we're asking the same question in 4 different ways. What am I going to accomplish in the next 24 hours? No excuses. What am I going to accomplish in the next 10, 30, and 90 days? No excuses. Maybe in the next 24 hours, you're just going to say, and listen, the beauty is, I can't dictate what you're going to commit to. I can only hold you accountable if you all let me know. But the most important promises are the promises that we keep to ourselves. So maybe you're going to say, in the next 24 hours, I'm going to go to canvasrebel.com, click on the nomination, and just look at it, right? That might be what you do. Maybe in the next 24 hours, you're going to go on canvasrebel.com and submit your name for a nomination, because we have to wait sometimes 7 or 10 days for them to respond to us. I think that's a fantastic 24-hour deal. And plus, you can wake up in 36 hours and say, man, I got that done. I'm a champ. I'm a winner, right? Maybe next 24 hours, for those of us in real estate, we say, I'm going to go in and spend at least 2 out of 24 hours looking at the different exclusive buyer brokerage agreements. I'm going to look at the compensation agreement. That might be something. In the next 10 days, you might say, I'm going to have recorded at least 3 videos talking about the upcoming NAR settlement changes, right? I'm just giving you all ideas. Maybe your next 10 days might say, in the next 10 days, I'm going to find me a success partner. I'm going to find someone to hold me accountable. I'm going to put my schedule in place. So I know what time I'm waking up, what time I'm going to sleep. I'm going to time block or protect my front end with those bookends to make sure I have the right processes. Maybe it's just going to be where you, in the next 10 days, you're actually going to get all of your database sorted in your CRM, right? That might be something. Right? It could be I'm going to record videos or document my operations manual on what a home buying process looks like for new construction. There are a number of things that we can get done in 24 hours and 10 days. In the next 30. So here's what I will tell you. I'm not going to tell you to have 4 properties under contract and 2 closed in the next 10 days. That might be unrealistic. But what if you say in the next 30 days, I want to have these processes in place. I want to know my numbers. I want to be able to clearly communicate who I am, know who my ideal client is, and then address their answers or their questions, solve their problems, have a process for that. That's a 30-day deal. And then in 90 days, what are your goals? What will you have accomplished in 90 days? Maybe it's going to be, since it's not tax season right now, I'm just going to find a good accountant now since it's not busy, right? I'm going to go in and start building relationships. So in 90 days, I'm going to have an affiliate partnership booklet where I will know all of my preferred allies, such as title company, insurance, moving companies. I don't know. But here's what happens. Once you get a win, one victory under your belt in 24 hours, that's going to pull you through to momentum for 10, 30, and 90 days. Think about this. What if you had 3 goals in the next 24 hours and you got those done? What do you think is going to happen over the next 7 days? You're going to find things to do and get done, and your 10 days are probably going to be 30 or 45 days worth of work that you've accomplished. That's the secret that we use. We just use the mind, the subconscious mind, to turn ourselves. Remember, we talked about that performance-based self-esteem, right? How once you have a victory here over the next 24, you start thinking, ooh, anything is possible. You have a conversation with your broker or team leader or maybe a client and things go really well. And you have that one victory over the next 24. And then you say, hold on, if I did that in 24, what could I really do in 10 days, 30, and then 90? And then what do we do at the end of 90 days? We do this again. That's the hack, right? So once we get to the end of 3 months, we come back in and we set us a big goal for the first 24 hours. First 24 hours, I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to do this. I'm going to write this. And so this is how we, as the top of the top of as the most elite in any industry, in any field, this is what they're doing. This is how they break it down with those items on the other side. When they know who they are, they know who they're talking to, and then they maximize their exposure. This is that behind the scenes work with that execution agenda of how they are getting it done. So I'm going to encourage you all to leverage this and go back and watch those playbacks from the previous 6 weeks when we talk about being oversubscribed, how to create demand, or if it's going to be figuring out what your story is like. If you do all of that, we are going to be poised to win when others are quitting. And the beauty is that I believe we're coming in a time, not only in the real estate, but just as small business and entrepreneurs, where it's going to be easier for people to sit on the sideline, point fingers, and make excuses. And that's what they're going to choose. But the benefit, the win is going to be on the other side for those of us who have stuck with it and who are going to come out with great results. So this is where I must tell you all, I told you it was going to be short today only because it was going to be a reminder. And once I stop this recording, we're going to have some conversation. But I must remind you that I love you, God loves you, and there's nothing you could do about it. And until the next time I see you or you see me, don't be average, be world renowned. Peace.